JT and the Don with your hosts, Jimmy Thompson and Fuhgettaboutit. They're covering the most current issues in sports from the 305 to the 412 and all the way to the West Coast. You can follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at JT and the Don or email them at jtandthedon@gmail.com. Now take it away, guys.
Give them a shot to do what?
Welcome to the next episode of JT and the Don, presented by Give Us a Shot Network. I am the Don, Fuhgettaboutit, and remember to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you find all of your other favorite podcasts. And remember to leave us a 5-star review. Thank you to Nicole Thompson for the wonderful introduction, and to our guy Mike Regina with the JT and the Don intro music. It was an exciting weekend in the NFL. A lot of unexpected good games. But before we get to all of that, let me welcome in everyone's favorite, JT, Jimmy Thompson. How you feeling today?
I'm exhausted, man. I mean, it's also a good weekend in college football, too. I feel like these games are too good and too late that we're staying up this late watching these games, talking about them on the phone. I mean, like we were up to what, like 2:30 on Saturday watching that game?
It's 3 nights in a row. You're staying up on the East Coast till 2:30 for the Colorado game. Then your Dolphins played Sunday night, and then my Steelers played a late game, really, for a Monday night game. Didn't finish until like almost past 11:30 last night.
I know, man. I'm exhausted. I mean, the games have been crazy, and we'll talk about some of this stuff. But I mean, yeah, so far so good. But I mean, we got to start with the bad news, man. Nick Chubb. I mean, that injury last night was brutal. I'm hearing that it is like a dislocation with like multiple ligament tears. So basically, it's all the ligaments are gone, dislocation in the same knee that he did the exact same thing to when he was at Georgia. So, I mean, absolutely brutal for Nick Chubb, man. You feel sorry. Good guy, one of the best running backs in the league, if not the best. Like, do you think he comes back? Like, should he continue his playing career after suffering another injury like that?
Yeah. Well, I feel like both of us feel like, man, we hope he can come back and play again. Even as a Steeler fan, for it to happen to a Cleveland Brown, and you saw what the fans, how much they respect him. I think as Steeler fans do, as well as how gruesome of an injury it was. You know, they basically they cheered. I think they cheered his name as he was leaving. Like, that usually doesn't happen with your rival, right? So I think they realized how gruesome of an injury it was, as well as how respected he is, right? He's such a hard runner. He's a Pittsburgh type running back.
Oh, for sure. And you can tell, like, they didn't show the replay on the live broadcast, but you can tell that they showed the fans that were at Pittsburgh Stadium that they showed them the replay. And you can hear everybody just say, like, oh, like, it's horrible.
Yeah, but to answer your question, listen, if he is able to come back and play, why not, right? I mean, these guys' careers.
Why?
But, like, you know, why? Listen, but it's tough to take away. You got to understand, you have such a short lifespan in terms of NFL player, and then you may have 50, 60 years rest of your life is like, but this is really the prime for some of these players because – let's face it, JT, sometimes it don't get any better than that. You're on TV, you're going to the facility every day.
Everybody loves you. You're
like
a
everyone,
superstar.
And you're with your guys in the locker room. Once that ends, those guys could become coaches. They can go to be, NFL studio analysts, color analysts for games, play-by-play analysts, whatever it may be. They never get that same adrenaline rush again. And in terms of, will he come back? I mean, he's done it once, so I'm not going to put it past him. And he is in such great shape that maybe he can do it. But, man,
it's tough, man.
I'm not sure.
You're basically coming back to train for the same scenario to possibly happen again. And I mean, you want to talk about how strong Nick Chubb is. The guy that hit him, Micah Fitzpatrick, who's an amazing player in his own right, like he was down too. He got the worst of it, but Chubb is out for the season. So, I mean, if it were me, I probably would be done at this point. I mean, I've made my money, but I mean, that's why I'm not in the NFL. Like, I don't love it that much, obviously, but I just wonder when a guy goes through 2 gruesome injuries like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you come back? But then, I mean, we could say the same thing about a guy like Marcus Lattimore. Like, he went through it in college multiple times. And he still tried to make it to the NFL. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't think he'll come back, but I think you think he will. And I mean, either way, I just wish him the best.
I'm saying you're saying should he come back, and
I
I'm
don't
saying
think he
should. But
he
if
should.
you're saying will he come back, man, right now I would give him less than a 50% chance just because it was so gruesome. And I mean,
I think he'll be right, man. I really don't think he'll be right. Definitely not next year. I think next year is out of the question.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would agree.
All right, so we talked about there were a lot of exciting games, so we got to start with the big one, man. Colorado Buffaloes and Coach Prime, a double overtime win against Colorado State late Saturday night. I was unfortunately on the East Coast for this game, so we were up to like 2:30 watching this. Had a lot of stuff in it. The build-up pregame with all the trash talk, and then unfortunately the late hit by Henry Blackburn on Travis Hunter that essentially ended his night with, I believe, a lacerated kidney. And then
lacerated liver.
See, that's why I bring you on. You're the doctor expert.
No, I'm not.
But Coach Prime essentially said that Hunter's going to be out for 3 weeks. But nonetheless, the game was exciting from beginning to end. But first, did the game say more about Colorado or Colorado State?
I think it said more about Colorado. And in credit to Colorado State, they played a great game. They came ready to play. But I think it says more about Colorado for a couple of reasons.
But with you.
and not in a
good, be a straight shooter.
No. There's 3 reasons, and it's not in a good way. I think it shows they're not ready for an elite team yet. And while Colorado State played above their heads, let's face it, because the first 2 games, Colorado State did not look good. They played above their heads, but it was a home game for Colorado. They should have put, especially after what Colorado State's coach said about their coach, they should have put the Colorado State Rams in their place. And they didn't. So if you think you're that good to be a top 15 team to be on the national stage every day, you got to put a team like Colorado State in their place. That's what we always say about the Alabamas, the Georgias. That's when you know, like we're talking about as Miami Hurricane fans, when we put certain teams in their place, that's when we know we're back.
Yeah, when you handle business against the spread, because they were 23-point favorites?
Yeah, some 24, 23, 21.
Like you can't go to double overtime at home. But
and be down 11. They were down 11 late.
It is a rivalry game. Like I know we think Colorado is that much better than Colorado State, but Colorado State showed me some things in that game. I forgot his name, but that number 14 at receiver, he's gonna get drafted.
I told you about
it. That might be the best receiver on the field in that game. And Colorado State's defense, nasty. Number 8, your boy Kamara, the defensive tackle. Yeah. I mean, he was out there just making life hell for Colorado. But I agree with you. I think it did show that they were tough and resilient, but it also showed they have a long way to go. I don't think they're ready for prime time. I don't think they're ready to hang with USC, Oregon, and definitely not ready to hang with those guys without Travis Hunter. I think him not being in there is a big difference. But positive, I think it showed that Colorado has a top 3 NFL draftable quarterback. However you want to stack it, Shedeur Sanders is him. I know we picked him as the top offensive transfer and the top quarterback transfer before the season, but let's be real. There was always a little bit of a doubt in the back of our mind, and we've had those conversations privately. Is he going to be able to play like that, like he did at Jackson State at the D1 level? And it's like, this is better than I could have imagined. They're talking about him going behind Caleb Williams. Like, he has surpassed Drake May. Think about that. Drake
in 2
May.
Games.
In 2 games. He's behind Drake May. And after watching that Colorado State game, I'm not arguing with people about it. It's almost like a 2A, 2B conversation. Like, Shedeur is him. He looked composed. Everything looked easy. And I felt like they were never out of the game as long as he was back there.
Well, that was my second point. Is it just shows they're carried by Shedeur. I mean,
for sure.
he took over in that 4th quarter. He didn't have Travis Hunter, didn't have a run game all night, basically, and he took over. But I also think, JT, because I think we bring up good points, but it shows how suspect that defense is. Because Colorado State, no one knew about a lot of these guys. Now everyone knows about who Colorado State's quarterback is, who number 14 is, who number 5 is. Like, you go down the line.
You knew who number 5 was. I'll give you props. You're like, hey, they got this guy number 5 on their team. I think he's NFL type of guy.
Yeah. Now, I think he did drop a big pass, but he had that great catch. And it just, they're going to get further exposed on defense once they get to the heart of the Pac-12, which starts this Saturday for them.
Yeah, one more thing before we move on. I think I found out another thing. Shiloh Sanders is not his daddy's son when it comes to playing quarterback. He don't look like he has that Sanders speed, man. He got caught on that pick 6 that he had, so he
didn't get caught.
He got caught. 14 caught him, man.
He did not. But it's number 14. Come on.
We saying it like 14 is the GOAT. You are Shiloh Sanders. You are playing cornerback. Like, you are the son of Deion Sanders. We are expecting like elite speed, man. He got hawked down by a dude that's probably a 1-star.
Wow. Come on.
But we talked about the Travis Hunter injury, so let's go back to that. And this was something that we talked about when it happened during the game, and talking heads in the media have been talking about it ever since. The Colorado State defensive back Henry Blackburn had been ejected for that hit on Travis Hunter.
Well, 2 things before I even answer it. One, we obviously hope that Travis Hunter is doing well, and it seems like he is out of the hospital.
Yeah, I seen him online. He looked like he wasn't even hurt.
Yeah, he's out of the hospital Monday. Lacerated liver, is out a couple weeks beginning this week. So you never like to see those. Plus, for Henry Blackburn, what I think bothered all of us, and it bothered Deion Sanders too, is the death threats toward him and his family. Phone numbers got leaked, addresses got leaked, and it's like, it's unacceptable. And in class act by Coach Prime to come out and state that toward the people that are making these threats, that it is only a football game at the end of the day, and they're both trying their hearts out there.
Yeah, that's all great,
but,
right?
To answer,
hold on. I want to stay on that topic. I'm glad you brought it up. Teamwork, rah, sportsmanship. I love it, right? I do feel bad.
You can't say it that way.
I don't think death threats are too far. But here's the thing, though. Some of it is on Jay Norvell. Like, there were reports before this game that they were trying they were trying to go out and do something like this. It was in the game plan. They asked him about it at halftime. He didn't show really any concern for Hunter. It was more of, hey, like, this happens. And then afterwards, he doubled down and said, this happens in football. I don't think and you can show me if I'm wrong, I haven't heard anywhere where I've heard Norvell ask about or seen concern about Travis Hunter. It was more about protecting his guy.
Yeah,
why he was validated in doing it.
But that's part of his job as a coach, is to protect his guys.
But Coach Prime had to be the bigger man, and also talk about his player that was wrong, and also say, like, it's okay, you guys shouldn't be doing all this stuff, which he should have. But it's like, why is Norvell being left out of all of this when he was the one that escalated the atmosphere in the situation? Like, he could have easily quelled this down.
In what way? Because he's defending his guy. That's what players want.
I get it, defending your guy, but you can defend your guy while also having some apathy for the guy that was illegally hurt because of your coaching call. Like, that's all I'm just saying. But
how is that his coaching call?
Oh, come on,
man. You're saying there's a bounty gate? Is there a bounty gate?
Yeah, I am. That's how it looks.
See, we don't do that. We don't do that irresponsible speculation journalism, bro. We don't do that.
Call it what you want. I'm irresponsible as hell at night.
That's what
Bounty Gate 2.0. Has Norvell been on the staff with Sean Payton or Greg Williams before? We need to investigate that because it's very similar.
That's irresponsible journalism. But to answer your question, like with all that said, he should not have been ejected for it. What is the rule? Here's the rule: targeting. All right, that's the first thing. Let's see. It wasn't that. There was no use of the crown of the helmet. Then the other thing is, you don't have to use the crown, but you could still get targeting when there's forcible contact above the shoulders, meaning to the neck and head area. You go look at the play. It was not. That's how he ended up with a lacerated liver instead of a concussion or a separated shoulder. It was because it was to the chest or the body of Travis Hunter. So it wasn't with the crown of the helmet. And then 2, he didn't lead with his shoulder or his arm or his elbow to the neck or head area of Travis Hunter. Now, I get you're emotional and everything because you felt Jay Norvell escalated this and that. But listen, we've always said it in slow-mo. Yeah, it looks like he could have pulled up. But listen, adrenaline's running, right? Both teams, you said it earlier, it's a rivalry game, and they're the underdog on the road.
I'm impressed with how much you're listening to me so far because you just bringing up my whole points. You said.
Those four elements led to a high-intensity impact game, and that play sometimes happens.
Bullshit. Yes, you should have been ejected. I've seen guys get ejected for less at questionable calls.
What?
No matter what speed, no matter what,
thrown out for
what definition, whatever definition you look at, whether it was 1080p, 4K, you could have seen in 480p old standard definition that this was malintent because look, he's out there headhunting, trying to hurt people on the sideline. Hold on, answer this question. If Travis Hunter was a quarterback in that situation and he goes to the sideline, the ball is nowhere in play, and Blackburn does something like this, do you think they eject him?
But that's not what happened here.
But I'm asking. Let's say it's a quarterback that goes to the sideline. So because he's a quarterback, he's not a quarterback, it doesn't matter.
I'm glad
it's the intent. It was obvious malicious intent. Absolutely.
I'm glad you
bounty vibes, like I said.
If you want him thrown out, then your guy, Shedeur Sanders, has to get thrown out.
Poke King?
Yeah. So you want to throw him out? I'm surprised. Yeah. You know why? We're not asking this question?
But here's the thing.
You don't want
Here's the thing. I am. Can you be quiet for 5 seconds? Here's the difference. Here is the difference.
There's no difference.
We all saw that. We all saw the hit on Travis Hunter. The ref was right there.
Oh my goodness.
The cameras later caught the eye poke on Shedeur Sanders.
JT.
So if you want to go back and throw everybody out for the dirty plays they did in that game that the refs didn't see live. Colorado State wouldn't even have a team.
Are you an official? Have you passed the official?
Are you an official?
Because there are like 8 referees out there that are all watching.
And all of them couldn't see shit. This was a malintent play.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Take
I
both
told
of them out.
I told you, bounty vibes. I will say this before I go on to the next question. I will say this. Yeah, you're wrong. I'll say this.
You're wrong. How are you going to allow a guy to stay in the game that literally pokes someone?
Because nobody saw it. The refs obviously didn't see it. Because did he get a penalty on that play?
He should have. He
did it because they didn't see it. The refs saw this.
So would you be okay with, because it's on camera, that he misses the Oregon game?
Oh my God. You're missing the whole point.
No, you're missing the point. You want to focus.
The refs did not see it. The refs did not see it. Was it wrong? Yes.
I asked you a question. Why doesn't he get suspended? Because in targeting,
because it wasn't a penalty in the moment.
It doesn't. Oh my goodness. Go ahead.
We're gonna agree to disagree. But I think you kind of already answered this next storm, and then we'll be done with Colorado. Without Travis Hunter, can they weather this storm over the next 3 weeks?
Nah, or not with Oregon. Not with Oregon. Maybe like Stanford and stuff, but not with Oregon. Their offense is coming up next, and I told you Colorado's defense is already suspect. And
Dan Lannon wants this game too, because he's low key been chirping about the Deion hype too. He's not happy about it, so he'll be ready. And now he sees no Travis Hunter. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they're ready. They can't win without Hunter.
Yeah, no, not against this elite competition, right? Yeah, Scott, you're right. Bringing the fire today because JT is clearly wrong.
Because you're ridiculous, man. Everybody wants to protect this goon that was out there to obviously hurt Travis Hunter. He spoke about it before in local media that this was something they were looking to do. His coach basically amped it up. He was Greg Williams 2.0. This dude was out there acting like the dude was Brett Favre on the sideline. I don't care what you say. Go on to the next question.
See, that's disrespectful when you're going to come after like a 19-year-old kid who's playing his heart out.
I said no death threat. That's horrible. That's horrible. That should never happen. That should never happen.
So from now on, so everyone listening, anytime you see something that may have bad intent, that guy's gone. So now referees have to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner figuring out the intent behind hits. If you jump on a pile late, is it bad intent? You know what? We're not sure. JT's rule was throw him out.
All you got to know, if that was Xavier Restrepo that had that situation, Don would be having a different team. Can we go to the next question?
Let's go to the check down game. Let's stay in college football because it's so popular right now, and you're completely wrong. So week 3, essentially, don't roll your eyes at me. Week 3
I just
of the
did.
college
What do about
football
it?
season.
Do better.
Listen, I'm trying.
Do your job
you're
better.
talking.
Read the question, please.
You just need to do your job first,
Oh,
and then worry
God.
about getting to my level.
This is why I don't want to do this show anymore.
Hey,
Jesus, I gotta deal with you doing this. Can you just go on to the
that is fine. I've got Give Us a Shot Network. I'm sure
he's like already got my exit strategy.
So all right, so week 3 is in the books, technically 4 games if you consider week 0, but college football season now. So let's play another edition of the check down game. All right, with JT and myself. So we're going to give a question, then provide multiple answers or responses to the question, but we're going to select the best answer. Kind of like when JT took those multiple choice tests back at
I had good grades, so don't you can't try my GPA. I don't think you want to do the GPA game with me, bro.
stud linebacker and 4.0 GPA. That's impressive.
However you want to frame it.
Yo, Larry Coker should have came looking for you.
He came looking for Willie.
What's the bigger surprise? Colorado State against Colorado or the Gators beating Tennessee in that game?
I think it's Colorado State for all the things that we mentioned before. 23-point dogs on the road. Your coach has put extra pressure on you with all his pregame talk. Like everything was built up for Colorado State to come in that game and get beat by 30. And we would have understood if they did. But what did they do? They outplayed Colorado for 95% of that game. If Shedeur Sanders is not the quarterback in that game, I think Colorado State could have won by 2 or 3 scores. Like that's how over their heads they played in that game. And I got to give credit to Norvell. Like he outcoached Deion. He did on both sides of the ball and including special teams. So I thought that Colorado State's performance was way more impressive.
Yeah. And Germ with the nice words, Dawn is the face of Give Us a Shot Network. I'm not, but I appreciate that. Just to kind of take
don't try to turn it down. You got anointed. Germ just told everyone who the company favorite is. I already knew it.
I agree with you. It's Colorado State. Just because of the hype of Colorado for them to come in and play like that after the way they looked after their first 2 games for Colorado State to do that was really good. Plus, I think Tennessee's a little overrated. So that Florida win, when we look back at it in 2.5 months, I've got a feeling it may not be as good as it looked that night. All right, so more worried. That's the question. More worried on Alabama or Clemson long term?
Oh, this is easy. It's Clemson. And it's Clemson because Clemson's success has really been on the backs of a few generationally talented players. You're talking about Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, and I'll throw Travis Etienne in there. Like, not only is Clemson not getting those guys anymore, but when they do get 5 stars, they're like Miami 5 stars. They ain't what they signed up for. And that coaching staff is that they can't develop the guys on offense. Like Klubnik, I don't think he's getting developed. DJ Uiagalelei clearly hasn't been developed because he's doing great at Oregon State. And Alabama, they're still getting the talent. Now, they may not be getting the depth that they had before, but Nick Saban's still having top 5 classes, and those guys are still playing well. But Clemson is worrying me, so I'll definitely pick them for that answer.
It's funny. That's not what you said preseason during the college preview show. You were saying Bama's in trouble.
They are, but Clemson's in bigger trouble.
Yeah, I agree. It's Clemson. The portal and NIL deals. That's like, does Dabo believe in that? And if he doesn't seem to be, and that's why I think they're long-term in trouble, because Bama will go to the transfer portal, right? They got the Tennessee linebacker last year.
Saban ain't got no choice now.
They went and got the quarter. They went and got Tyler Buckner. So, like, mid-level schools in the ACC, Duke, they're beating Clemson now. Bama's still taking care of South Florida, even though it's a closer game.
I mean, technically, we're a mid-level school in the ACC right now, and we're getting better classes or equal classes to Clemson.
And we're going to see, though, talent-wise on the field, how we do against Clemson. But that'll be the story right there, JT. If we hang with Clemson or somehow beat them, that's how you know Clemson's in trouble.
Is that the tombstone of Clemson if we beat them?
Yes, absolutely. They're run. If we beat them, their run in the ACC is over, because now you have Florida State, Duke, North Carolina, Pitt, Miami. They can all overtake them, and basically would have overtaken Clemson at that point.
Hey, I ain't gonna fight you on it.
Thank you. More worried, Georgia or Florida State, with both having close games against underdogs, big underdogs.
I hate this, man, because this is going to go against everything I said in the preseason because I picked this team to be number one. It's Georgia, man. I got to say it. They just don't look like the same team. And they clearly, and I called Stetson Bennett at the time. I was like, he's going to be irreplaceable. He's one of their best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in that school's history, just strictly at Georgia. But you can tell they clearly miss him. They clearly miss Todd Monken calling the plays on offense. And to a smaller extent, they miss our guy who's a Pittsburgh Steeler now, Darnell Washington. And I think all of those guys being gone has shifted the way Georgia can play. And the main reason and the main person that's being affected is Brock Bowers. Like, he's not being used the same way that he was used those years prior when Monken was there, or when he had Darnell Washington able to block more and he's able to run free and make all these big plays. Like, they need him to block more. I feel like they're using him more in a gadget role, and he's not having the season I expected when I put him as a top 3 overall player. So their quarterback play now, I mean, I think the kid has some talent, but he didn't look good in that first half of that South Carolina game. So they don't have the same talent. And I think when you keep losing like special players in droves, I just think it's harder and harder to reload.
Catches
yeah,
up.
and we thought Georgia could do it, but I don't think they're going to be able to withstand it.
Yeah, before I give my answer, because I do agree with you. I agree it's Georgia. But first, Scott, thanks again for watching. He says Coach Cassidy was right about Oregon State, college football expert. That's why we bring Coach C and keep Coach C on the show.
For real, man.
Where
would we be without him?
Honestly, I don't know.
Nobody would listen to us. Clearly we're wrong.
Yeah, we'd have no college football segments anymore. It's Georgia. You know, they were at home. That's the other thing. At least Florida State had to go to BC. The weather wasn't great up there, but you were at home. And the other thing is, like, do we know if Carson Beck is the guy? I don't know yet.
He is, man.
And I think you're right about Stetson Bennett. Like, he was better than what we thought at Georgia. I think you're still wrong about it in the NFL, but at Georgia, he was way more special than we give credit. But the other thing, too, is why I think they're in trouble. Maybe some of those offseason issues are catching up. Like, when you're not disciplined, JT, and you think, oh, we're back-to-back champs, it's guaranteed number 3.
It's going to be wash, rinse, repeat, and you're not realizing you're the person that's got to actually go out there and play
right.
and make these championships happen.
Now it's your turn to step up.
They are going through the same thing that the Miami Hurricanes went through. We were just
early
unbelievable. We had all this NFL talent, and people were just like, we don't need a coach. We could just show up and just play, and it's not that simple.
Right.
I know Georgia's in trouble, and I'm not trying to throw shade at the young man. Like, I don't know his name, but I don't know if you remember in that game, there was a guy that scored a touchdown. I think it was a rushing touchdown, number 32. I was like, if this is the guy that they have playing running back to scoring touchdowns, Georgia in trouble.
No, that was a feel-good story because I think he was
It was, but it just tells you where they are.
Oh, you know, some people could have said that about Stetson Bennett too. So,
man, Stetson Bennett is the GOAT, man. He's been on campus for 8 years.
Now
man.
he is. When he came back and transferred back into Georgia, no one thought that. They all said, "Hey, JT Daniels is going to start," so we're okay.
We know who JT Daniels is.
So, more impressive, Shedeur or JJ McCarthy?
Oh, this is tough because JJ McCarthy was my preseason Heisman pick, and I think he's leading all of college football quarterbacks in QBR. I thought I saw that somewhere, but it's Shedeur, man. Like, it's insane. Like, Shedeur Sanders, I would feel comfortable drafting him right now in front of Drake May. Like, that's where I'm at. And what I've seen from him is just things you can't teach, man. He's got it. Like, I don't know what it is, but he's got it. So I'm more impressed with him.
Oh, it's definitely Shedeur. I mean, I can't even believe it was a question. This is definitely a JT question trying to create unnecessary drama. Dude, Shedeur came back double digits fourth quarter without Travis Hunter, put the team on his back, prime time, whole country watching. And then on top of that, bro, if you look like, where's that QBR coming from? Because JJ McCarthy threw 3 interceptions against Bowling Green. It's Bowling Green. This ain't the Georgia defense or TCU defense from last
It's those week
year.
0 stats that are padding it.
It must be.
It probably was before that game that he was leading it.
Yeah, it
That's
must
why I
have
saw
been. It must have been. It's Shedeur, not even a question. That shouldn't even be on the show. Sorry.
I'm not gonna lie. The play to Horn Jr. to, I think it was to tie it up, like
where he scrambled. Was it the scrambling one?
It was the scramble, the manipulation of the safety, like that right there. I'm like, hey, look, it's him. He's him.
Yeah,
he should be a Heisman favorite.
Yeah. Well, My Heisman favorite, talk about the next team more impressive, the Washington Huskies with Michael Penix or Notre Dame?
This is tough, man. But I know you want to pick Washington, but I'm going to disagree with you. Do we forget the state of panic that Notre Dame was in at this time last year? Like, just think about it. They lost at home to Marshall. They had no quarterbacks. I remember the lasting image of their season last year was, I think it was Tommy Rees cursing out the quarterback on the phone because he couldn't play. And then everybody wanted to fire Marcus Freeman. So, fast forward to this year, Sam Hartman comes in, and now they look like a potential playoff team. So ignore the name. This is an impressive turnaround. Like, I got to pick Notre Dame, just how far they've come. Like, this could have easily gone off the rails. And it's like, that didn't even happen last year. So they don't have to worry about it. So I'm more impressed with them.
It's the Huskies. It's Washington. I'm sticking with Michael Penix. But the other thing, I look at Notre Dame. We're going to find out this week, JT. So all this impressiveness you talk about, that ain't going to mean squat in South Bend if they lose this game against Ohio State this weekend. And on top of that, it looks impressive because their start last year was so bad. They lost to teams like Marshall. This year, they haven't played anybody yet. Of course, they should look this good. At least the Huskies had a Big Ten team come in, and they annihilated Michigan State. So I think it's
Michigan
Washington.
State, though.
It doesn't matter.
It's not even fair.
It's better than any team Notre Dame has faced so far this year. Just saying.
All right. So any other comments you want to throw in for college football before we go on to NFL?
Nah, that was good. That was good. We got our college football fixed in.
All right. So week 3, NFL in the books. I mean, week 2. Sorry.
Yeah,
week
relax. Hey, don't speed through the season. We want to enjoy this.
The Nick Chubb injury, I'm skipping next week. I don't even want to watch football anymore. But week 2 is in the books, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have reactions, ask questions. Don's going to be wrong. I'm going to be right. So the main question that obviously I want to know your answer to this, but what is wrong with Justin Fields? And is he done in the NFL?
Well, I think what's wrong is his decision-making right now. Everyone wants to talk about footwork, and that's what they've always mentioned in the past. And offensive coordinator, he had Nagy. And it's like, I think it's decision-making right now. He had open guys, right? We had Diamond Dave, our guy, our Chicago Bears insider. He sent us film of the all-22 of look how open guys are. And it looks like
Real talk. Shout out to Diamond Dave and the Bad Medicine podcast. If you don't watch them, you should. They're amazing. Like, you want to talk about somebody that is invested in Chicago Bears football. There's nobody on the planet more invested in
not even
Dave.
Ryan Pace himself.
Like nobody, like the GM, the coach, the OC,
the owner's not even.
Nobody is invested into the Chicago Bears more than Diamond Dave, man. Like, think about it. Our group text is all about Chicago Bears. Like, I learned more from that group chat about what's going on in Chicago than any news outlet. Shout out to Diamond Dave.
Yeah. So it's his decision-making. Listen, he's still holding the ball for 2.95 seconds, according to Next Gen Stats. That was the Green Bay game. Last year, it was 3.12. So he's reduced that time, but it's still kind of high. All right. Plus, on decisions where he's not finding the guy open right away, he's then hanging on, taking sacks when he should be throwing it away. I mean, listen, I understand all the criticism, but like, he's even being criticized by his head coach after the Green Bay game, saying he needs to scramble, but he also needs to know when to throw those 50-50 balls. They're basically saying, throw it up to DJ, and he's not. So it's like, I'm not sure. I still think it's too early in the season, even though Germ, with his comments, says nothing is wrong with him.
Germ, man, damn. He said nothing is wrong with him. He is ass, like I've been saying. Yeah, you all, never mind. We're not going to get into the quarterbacks.
But to me, it's still early, so let's not overreact. But I don't like this trend, JT, for Justin Fields.
I don't. And some of it, you're right. It is on Fields. I think he's taking too long. I think he's very indecisive. His footwork is not the best. But I do think
beyond the footwork now. It's beyond the footwork.
I think it has more to do with his comfortability. And I think it's a combo of the scheme fit and the offensive coordinator. I think it's Luke Getsy not putting him in positions to boost his confidence. Like, we forget when the Bears are rolling last year and we thought Justin Fields was a superstar. He was running and passing. Guess how many design runs they have called for him this year so far through 2 games?
1?
2 design runs for the best running quarterback in the league, not named Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry. I know you're going to give things about, it's to keep him safe and all this stuff. I'm sorry. Like, you got a weapon like that, you got to run him. And also, thank you, Diamond Dave, for giving us the all 22. You know what I see a lot of in this offense is it's really got an Adam Gase feel to it. I see a lot of times, yes, there are guys that are coming open, but how many times did the Bears call plays and multiple receivers end up in the same area? Like, that's not a good play call. And I think it's hard for a guy like Justin Fields to say, like, okay, just trust what you see and throw it, when the play calling is bad and then he doesn't even have the one ace in his pocket that you can rely on. You're not calling that for him. Get him in the rhythm. Get him comfortable. And this is the Bears' fault. You're sticking your young quarterback that has shown flashes that he could be the guy. Why are you sticking him with a defensive coach? We talked about it when they hired Eberflus. All the guys that are like him, they stick those quarterbacks with offensive guys. Allen with Dayball, Anthony Richardson with Steichen, Jalen Hurts with Nick Sirianni. Give this guy an offensive guy that can utilize him and scheme an offense around him to be successful. Like, this is Matt Nagy 2.0. This is exactly what this is. And I know what the excuse is going to be. Polls and Eberflus are going to be like, he's not our guy. We didn't draft him. So why do we have to adjust him? This is the same thing that Matt Nagy did. Like, and it's the same thing that's happening. And I do feel that if they have a bad season, Justin Fields is going to be in that Trey Lance category where people will be like, nah, he's not that good. He's not going to get another shot. Like, so I do think this is a make or break year for him.
You waited all day to say Matt Nagy 2.0. Listen.
Ask the Kansas City Chiefs about Matt Nagy, because they would love to have Eric Bieniemy back right now.
So to the fans and listeners out there, this is what I've been trying to warn you for years now if you've been listening. JT, if he doesn't like someone, he will criticize them no matter what. If he really likes someone, which he
the only person
really
I don't like is you, and I'm sorry, you have to deal with the criticism.
And you criticize
are so
me
damn
every
annoying,
time, even when I'm right.
First of all, you know how bad of a coach Matt Nagy is.
Don't say a word.
Don't make me pull up conversations of you talking about Matt Nagy. You make it seem like you love him.
But it's beyond Nagy now. What I'm saying is you always seem to have an excuse for the guy when guys in his same situation.
You know what your problem is? You don't listen. I literally started off this rant with saying that Justin Fields is to blame, and I named the things that he's responsible for.
You spent 20 seconds on that and then 2 minutes on all the reasons.
Because this offense is dog shit. It's horrible.
There's another
reason. Horrible. But he will be done because the narrative around him will be he failed with 2 coaches.
Next question. You were wrong. Next question.
All right. So what's one player, performance, or storyline that we're not overreacting on from week 2?
It's the Falcons and how good they are. I'm not overreacting and saying, oh, they're not good. I told you they were going to make the playoffs. So this is exactly what I thought would happen for the Falcons. So I'm not overreacting and being like, wow, this is amazing. Like, yeah, because it was expected. So I don't think they're going to regress. Of course, they're going to lose games here and there, but I've been telling you, they've got a balanced attack. The defense is improved. This team is legit, and they're a playoff contender. So what I mean by I'm not overreacting to it is I'm not getting overly hyped about it because I thought they would do this. I told you they would do this.
I am not overreacting to the Jets are done. I think it's just too early. I mean, it's just the worst case scenario for those first 2 weeks. You lose Aaron Rodgers on Monday Night Football, like 2 seconds into the game, and then Zach Wilson's first game as a starter is against probably the best team in the NFL in Dallas Cowboys. So I'm not overreacting to they're going to be a lottery team and miss the playoffs. I say relax, let them play some games against some decent teams, and let's see how they do. All right, flip the script. What's one player, storyline, or performance you are hitting the panic button on?
Oh,
we might have the same one.
Burrow and the Bengals. The Bengals.
It's close though.
They're in trouble. Listen, they're now saying he aggravated his calf. Listen, each and every day it sounds more and more like
the Kevin Durant calf injury.
It sounds more and more like the KD injury, and it's going to end up more and more like the Aaron Rodgers situation. They're already 0-2, both divisional losses. Baltimore 2-0. Cleveland 1-1, Pittsburgh 1-1, and I understand there's 15 games left, but the Rams
you gotta play them though.
But the Rams are better than we thought, and now you could end up being 0-3 Cincinnati in a tough division. And we don't know if Burrow's going to play. If he doesn't play against the Rams, that's going to be a tough one to win. And now you might be 0-3. Baltimore could be 3-0. You've already lost to them once. There's a lot of games left, but that ground to make up, especially if Burrow's hurt, I'm panicking.
It was close, man. I want to panic on the Bengals. I think it's the Chargers, man. They're done. They're done. Like, their defensive performances through the first 2 weeks with a defensive head coach in Brandon Staley is enough to be like, this is over. It's over. I'm tired of giving them excuses. The panic button has been hit. And you can tell that we should be panicking about them because of a couple things. One, I don't know if you saw Brandon Staley's post-game interview, but he's feeling the heat. Like, the tone that he has with the reporters is like, they about to get my ass up out of here. He's
short with them now.
He's very short. Let's put it this way. He's talking about the playoff loss to the Jaguars. That's what he's talking about. And I think you look at now, rumors are coming out about now scouts and AFC and, front office people don't feel the same about Justin Herbert being elite and things like that. And look, this defense struggled against Ryan Tannehill and the ghost of PED pass, DeAndre Hopkins, with one leg. Like, the Titans are not a good offense. And that defense struggled against them, it's a wrap. I'm panicking. Full panic. Sell the Chargers. Blow everything up. Get an early first round pick. Let's go. Let's play the check down game for this. So we're gonna go with most worried about. So we're gonna go through. I think these are all of the teams that are 0-2. I don't know how it worked out that way, but we're gonna go through each of these. More worried about the Broncos or the Vikings?
For me, the Vikings. They've got what seems like no run game. Listen, they're not going to have Cousins.
You don't like Alexander Madison anymore?
Hey, hit me up if you want to trade him.
He was the guy. He was Derrick Henry 2.0. Now he's looking like Marion Barber.
Yep. So no Cousins after this season. And listen, Justin Jefferson, he may want out if things don't get better and they keep getting uglier. Like, I'm really worried about the Vikings.
Yeah, I am too, for everything you said, because they still got to find room to sign JJ and Cousins. They're not winning games. They already made a mistake in signing TJ Hawkinson to a deal that I think is paying him like $17 million plus per year. You just can't be 0-2 with that kind of cap situation looming. And then I think they're on the verge of kicking the tires on one of those two guys in JJ and Cousins. Like, I think one of them will be traded because you can't extend them both because you paid Hawkinson all this money. So, like, they seem like if they lose, 2 more games, they might inadvertently be forced into tanking. So I just don't think it's a good situation. The Broncos, they've played well. I think they'll get it together. Next team, more worried about, this is convenient, the Chargers or the Bengals. So we kind of already answered this question.
We've answered it. I'm going to go Bengals. The difference is Burrow's not healthy and Herbert is. I understand. I think we both made great valid points in the last segment.
Oh, shit. Damn. Is that type of day where you're saying I made great valid points?
Well, but not as good as me.
Yeah, but you're including yourself.
Because right now it's the Bengals here. The Bengals is the right answer because Burrow's not healthy. Herbert is.
Yeah, I mean, Chargers for everything I said. I think they're going south fast. Like, it's over for them. This is interesting. The Bears or the Patriots? More worried about?
It's the Bears, just because the offense looks the same, and we went over everything just now with Fields in their offense. But the difference, too, is the Patriots, JT, to me, they've probably faced 2 out of the top 3 teams in all the NFL. They had Philly, and then they had the Dolphins. The only
played
other
them
team,
both well.
Yeah, exactly. They were in it in the second half. The only other team you could put up there is the San Francisco 49ers at this point. Those are probably the 3 elite teams, in Dallas, maybe 4. And they faced 2 of those top 4 teams in my the Don's power rankings. So
yeah, we don't want to see those shits. I agree with you. I think it's the Bears, and this team just seems broken because they don't seem invested in Justin Fields. Like, I don't know what happened in the offseason and what they were working on him with, but it's not working. And I'm telling you right now, this will be the storyline to watch out for. Let's say like 3 or 4 weeks from now, if they continue to struggle, that this is low-key a tank job because this next upcoming NFL draft is so loaded, potentially with generational quarterbacks, and they didn't draft this guy. So I can see them like, why do we have to tailor our offense around him? Let's see if he can play. If not, we're just going to get a good quarterback next year in the draft. So I just think there's no incentive for the Bears to work this out. So that's why I'm more worried about them. So let's switch gears. Let's go to more likely. Oh, these are funny. More likely, Brandon Staley to be fired before the Chargers bye week, or Cam Akers being an RB1 in the NFL again? So just to clarify this, I think Brandon Staley's got to be the odds-on, got to be the first coach fired. And Cam Akers, I don't know. I think they're about to either cut him or trade him from the Rams. Yeah. So which one is more likely to happen?
I think it's Cam Akers being an RB1 again, because teams are in need of RB1s. There's been injuries, right? The Browns we saw last night. J.K. Dobbins out in Baltimore. The Giants are without Barkley for a little bit. Who knows with the situation in Detroit? Who knows the situation in New Orleans with their running backs now? And the Rams have said they want to trade him. So he's going to find
traded for Cam Akers.
He's going to find another team, and I think he may just by default be an RB1 again. And October 8th is the Chargers bye week, JT. That's way too soon. That's only 2 more games. I can't. And they play the Vikings and the Raiders. We just talked about how worried we are about the Vikings. They could be 2-2 at the bye.
There's no way they 0-4. Honestly, I'm gonna make the show fun. I'm gonna say Brandon Staley getting fired because I think this is carrying over from last year. Those games are easily losable because those offenses can put up points. Like, I'm not worried about the offense on the Chargers. I'm worried about the defense. Like, they're going to give up 500 yards, and they could go 0-4. You trying to tell me after 0-4, Brandon Staley not going to be fired? With the bye week?
I don't think they go 0-4. I think they'll be 2-2.
All right, we'll see what happens. More likely, this is interesting. Puka Nacua, Rams rookie wide receiver, winning offensive rookie of the year, or Tua as the MVP?
I think it's Puka. I mean, he has such a huge lead on almost any rookie at this point.
Yeah, it's like impossible to catch.
Yeah, the quarterback, the QBs aren't going to get it. Maybe Bijan Robinson if he can get some touchdowns going, but
not if Arthur Smith has anything to say about it.
Exactly. It's Puka. I mean, he has such a huge lead even 2 games in. And no offense to Tua, but he's injury prone. And you look at the Pats game, bro, 249 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That don't scream MVP to me, even though he's right now on like a top 4 team.
Yeah, it feels like Tua is kind of surviving game 2, and he had a good game 1 against probably the worst defense in the league. So I agree with you. I think it's Puka. Like, he's on pace for, let me see if I read this right, 212 receptions, over 2,200 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Thank God he can't score touchdowns because he take MVP. Like, he obviously won't do this for the whole season, but this is what people don't realize. He's playing the same role and usage as Cooper Kupp did. And that's what made Cooper Kupp a superstar and one of the best receivers in the league. So they're just giving all the usage to this guy. He is dominating. Like, I have to look at the stats sometime to make sure the sleeper app ain't messing the shit up because it's insane. Like, did he get like 20 targets his last game or something like that? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. It's Puka. Like, as long as Stafford is healthy, no rookie on offense is going to get even close to this, to what he's doing right now.
For the fans and listeners out there, the Sleeper app is it's like ESPN or Yahoo fantasy football app. So but that's what he's talking about.
It's a fantasy football app for people that know what they're doing, not like Yahoo. More shocking so far, the Rams or the Cardinals. So these are 2 teams that everyone thought would either be tanking or horrible coming into the season, but obviously we were wrong. So which one are you more shocked about?
Well, the Cardinals are still 0-2, right? To me, the more shocking is the Rams. Like, I didn't think they would be even close to this good, let alone 1-1 and almost beat the 49ers. They're without Kupp. They traded away Jalen Ramsey. I mean, again, they almost beat the 49ers. To me, they're looking like a playoff team, actually, which I never thought of that. And listen, the Cardinals, great job so far, but this is the NFL. Like we saw it with the Texans last year. They're going to play hard. They're going to be in games. Right? These guys are still professional. The coaching staff are still professionals out there. So while that's a nice story right now, they're playing great, but that's not shocking. If they were 2-0, I'd say that's shocking. But they're only
I think it's close. I never expected the Rams to be horrible just because if Stafford and Kupp were healthy preseason, there's always a chance, right? But it's the Cardinals to me because it's one thing that we agree on. They were openly tanking before the season. For you to cut Colt McCoy, sign Josh Dobbs off the street like a week or 2 before the season, like that, everybody was like, "Oh, this team's tanking." Like Caleb Williams is going to the desert next year, and then they show up in the first 2 weeks. Now they didn't win, but they looking like they're not tanking. Like they're very competitive. So I just think because they're a bottom 5 roster, I think that's being nice in the NFL, and they're this competitive with Josh Dobbs at quarterback. Like I got to go with them as more shocking. You're not gonna rebut anything, or are you cool? Because I know you're gonna have something to say about this next
I
comparison.
mean, I'm right. It's the Rams. Come on, you can't pick a 0-2. 0-2 is shocking.
More shocking, Jordan Love or Baker Mayfield?
It's Jordan Love. He's got more pressure.
He's like, it's Jordan Love because I overpaid for him and then I overcharged for him in fantasy football. I'm gonna validate my overcharge, and I hope that person you sold Jordan Love to is watching so they can see your analysis.
Oh, he is watching.
He is watching,
and he won this past week. He got the better of the trade with Jordan Love. Listen, Jordan Love under more pressure, so he's able to respond to it, and he's got less talent around him than Baker Mayfield on offense. I mean, let's face it. You can't have Godwin Godwin and Mike Evans and be like, oh, he's not going to do well. And the other thing is we've seen glimpses of good play by Baker before when he was in Cleveland. So that's why it's not as shocking. I still think it's a really good story for Baker, but the Jordan Love aspect is more shocking because we didn't know what to expect, really, if we're being honest. And Baker, we've seen those good glimpses. He beat the Steelers in a playoff game.
He did do that. I agree with you. It's Jordan Love. For what you said, it's the pressure of, replacing Aaron Rodgers. And then also the pressure of, you have to play well enough for us to be willing to invest a long-term contract into you. So I think he's shown in these first 2 weeks, he's at least worth a long-term contract. And he looks like the guy that they traded up for in the first round when they thought Aaron Rodgers might be done. So for him to have to double back and play well despite all those pressures mounting up on him, I think what he's doing is more impressive. Everybody thought the Bucs would be tanking, so I think Baker Mayfield is just out there basically playing the Ryan Fitzpatrick role where he's just throwing it around, and if he throws picks, nobody cares. If he puts up 400 yards, nobody cares. So Baker's living free. I'm glad that he's happy, but he ain't got nearly the pressure that Jordan Love has.
And sometimes he plays the best that way.
Exactly.
All right, so let's go to there we go. Get it right there, JT. Let's go to everyone's
that's you just being too quick. You couldn't wait to get to this segment.
I was trying to help you out. Let's go to everyone's favorite segment, Forget About It or Fugazi. Glad you spelled it right there, JT. We'll give a statement, and if we agree with it, we think it's a great take, a hot take, we'll say forget about it. If we don't agree with it, we're going to say Fugazi. So, JT, first one. The Jets' biggest issue is not Zach Wilson.
Oh, forget about it. It's the same issue that it was last year. It's the offensive line. This offensive line is horrible. It's the reason why they don't have Aaron Rodgers in the first place, and he's out for the rest of the season. It is the offensive line. Zach Wilson is in there too. He's number 2. I'm not acting like he's blameless, but this O-line is worse than Zach Wilson right now.
It's Fugazi. Don't act like now you have a hot take on top of the hot take. Come on, it's Fugazi. It's him.
Is that your way to say he might be right? I get it.
Because last year it was Zach Wilson. This year, had Aaron Rodgers been in and not playing well, we wouldn't necessarily blame the O-line. We would say it's the quarterback. We'd be saying it's the quarterback. So it's got to fall on the quarterback here. The rest of the team is ready to go win a Super Bowl. Quarterback got to live up to the expectations. It's Fugazi.
Attitude reflect leadership, right? All right, so you'll like this one.
Captain.
The Bengals should shut down Joe Burrow until he's 100% healthy. Forget about it or Fugazi. Can you let me get the question out first?
No, I can't because I've already explained it 2 times. Forget about it. Go.
Yeah, you paid him $200 million. Why are you not protecting your investment? That's easy.
All right, NIL and the transfer portal have destroyed coaches like Dabo, Nick Saban, and Mike Gundy.
Forget about it because those coaches can't convince 5-stars to come to their program and sit on the bench for 3 years anymore like they could in the past. And those coaches have been slow to adapt to the way that players are going to college now. They're been open against NIL, Dabo specifically. They don't want to use the transfer portal where other schools have almost closed the gap with transfer portals, including Georgia. These guys are just the old dinosaurs. Mike Gundy, I think he just got fired, but it's Dabo next. These guys are so slow to adapt. And I think the only one that can be saved is maybe Nick Saban because he's kind of taking the Mike Krzyzewski route when it was about the one and dones. I'll never do it, but I'm kind of creeping over to this side. And the next thing you know, Zion and RJ Barrett are there. So Saban could survive because he'll adapt, but yeah, Dabo and Gundy, guys like that are going to struggle.
So it's Fugazi for me because I think the word destroyed is just too strong. Like that's
you just
not
said Clemson is about to get ran through.
No,
by,
I didn't. I didn't say
ACC teams.
No.
You did. You know what? You know how bad they are right now. You wanted to add Virginia Tech to that list.
I didn't say UVA and BC.
You almost did. If BC beats Florida State, you say BC.
So destroyed is not the correct word. I think it's more has impacted them, and it has in a negative way. But Nick Saban's still going to be fine. He's still getting the 4 and 5 stars. May not have the depth, but neither is Georgia at this point. You know, Dabo can still compete in the ACC. Now, Gundy, that's a different question. That it may have
been done since the Bobby Reed situation. I feel like
it may have destroyed Gundy, but not Dabo or Nick Saban. So I'm going to say Fugazi because I'm not lumping in Dabo and Saban there.
All right, next one. The Baltimore Orioles have the best young roster of the last decade. Forget about it or Fugazi.
This is a tough one because as a Pirate fan, you start to lose interest come about April 21st in baseball after 3 weeks of the season. But I'm going to say Fugazi because when you go back and look, you've got the Astros in the past decade that
you would consider them in their prime a young core.
Well, you got to remember they started that tank job in like 2013, right?
Yeah.
And I think they got tank picks. Their tank picks were like Correa, I think maybe Springer. They had signed internationally Altuve before that. So I'm going to go with that crew, but there's other possibilities. You can look at the Tampa Rays in the past decade, the Atlanta Braves when they rebuilt things after, you know, they were losing like 100 games. So
I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you just to kind of, I'll say it's Fugazi, but it's close. I mean, we love, you know, Adley Rutschman. We love Gunnar Henderson. Like that's your guy.
My guy.
You know, so we love those guys. And I mean, I just had to watch them, you know, tie up a series with the Rays in my own house this weekend. So you're not happy about that. But I agree. Like, there's so many other young groups that you can throw in there. Like, how about the Blue Jays? Like, you talking about Bichette, you talking about Vladdy, like those guys. I think you could put them up there. And then I'll even go back to, let's say, I don't know if you consider them a young core, but I mean, they kind of were like free agency, like the 2019 Washington Nationals. Like, they had Soto, Rendon, Trey Turner. Like, they were younger, like they were early 20s, like early to mid 20s. So I think it's close, but I would probably say I would take the Blue Jays young core as being more impressive over the Orioles. But the Orioles could make me look stupid, you know, by this time next year. So
are you going to, if the Rays play the Orioles, you coming up to Baltimore for a game? Playoff?
I mean, we got to go to another Orioles game. Did we go with you guys to the last one?
Yeah, but this is a playoff game. Tampa, a lot of interest. Listen, maybe Give Us a Shot Network can get us some playoff tickets.
Hey, Germ, look, you said I wasn't that good, that I'm not the favorite. Pay for my tickets and there's water under the bridge. So yeah, I will go.
All right, last one. Micah Parsons is Lawrence Taylor 2.0.
Fugazi. Did you watch what my defensive player of the year pick did last night?
Who?
That man,
TJ Watt?
Yes. TJ Watt won the game last night, dominant fashion. He is him. I mean, I like Micah Parsons. I mean, you can't go wrong with him or Bosa or even Myles Garrett. But to say he's LT, man, not yet. He could be. But I just think TJ Watt is on a different level right now.
Wow, I can't believe you admitted that about TJ Watt. I'm impressed. You're maturing. You're maturing.
I just like getting my picks right.
Sound like me. It's Fugazi. It's Fugazi because, listen, no disrespect to Michael Parsons, but Lawrence Taylor was different. And so for you to be Lawrence Taylor 2.0, maybe he's like Lawrence Taylor 3.0, 2.5, somewhere in there. Like he can get there, but he still has a ways to go to be Lawrence Taylor. I mean,
and like you said,
Lawrence Taylor was super
no
special.
Disrespect to Parsons, but I just feel like if I have to pick a guy right now that I want around the ball and bad things can happen to the offense, I just think TJ Watt has that edge right now. He's just a little bit better. And maybe it'll come with time with Parsons.
Yeah. That's a good point. All right, so I know that was everyone's. Wait, the Sox with Mookie and Bogarts were a good mix of young and old, and they blew it and didn't keep them. Good point. Our guy Scott, that's another good one. But also look at the success of what the Orioles have been doing. So I think you got to factor in. That's why I say the Astros or like the Rays, I think got to a World Series at some point. In the Braves won a World Series
against the Dodgers, man. During COVID. Come on.
So that's why I kind of look at it that way, because that's already 3 years ago now. So Randy Arozarena, was a young guy. He's still young, but he was even younger then. So that's why I kind of threw the Rays in there too. But the Sox is another good one. All right, so that was everyone's. Yeah, that was everyone's favorite segment. Now, weekend predictions, our favorite segment, because it gets to show us how wrong or how good we are. So, first, we're going to go college predictions, JT. And I'm giving you the records. I don't want you to keep saying, oh, it's because he's losing.
I don't even know the records, to be honest.
All right, so you're going to find out. You're in the early lead, the very early lead, too soon lead, with a record of 3-2. Next is our college football expert, Coach C, with a 2-3 record. So let's get to the prediction.
Oh, so we just not going to
I'm 1-4. It takes time for me because I like this.
It takes time for great. Yeah, you got a plan. You got a plan in your head.
I got to watch some games here. I got to watch some games. The spring games don't do it for me. All right, first one up. So I am 1-4 for the record. All right, Florida State at Clemson.
This is tough, man. I'm going to pick FSU because I think this is what they were looking forward to and overlooking BC.
Yeah, that was the trap game. So Coach C and myself both also picked Florida State. Colorado at Oregon.
Oregon.
Both Coach C and myself also have Oregon. All right, UCLA at Utah.
I like UCLA's quarterback. Was it Dante Moore? Is that his name? Like, he could throw it, but
he's replacing DTR, my guy.
Yeah, I like him, but I gotta go with Utah, man. Any chance I get.
Wow. Coach C went Utah. I'm going UCLA. I feel like there's a little bit of an upset. Utah struggled against Baylor. I know it's at Utah, but I'm going to go UCLA. Listen, Chip Kelly has to put up or shut up at this point because he
ain't shutting up.
He's got to get to the next level with them. All right, Ole Miss at Alabama.
This is the game that Lane Kiffin has been waiting for. It's going to be Ole Miss.
Listen, I got to take some water there because you're going Ole Miss. Coach C's going Ole Miss. But you know what? I got faith.
You're just trying to make this record any way you can. I'm doubling down on these picks to hope you can move into the lead. I get it. Smart strategy.
No. I'm going Nick Saban at home after 2 games the way they've played, and now they've decided, hey, Milroe's the guy. Milroe's the guy. There's no question. I think he plays much better now. I'm going Alabama. Interesting. Who would have thought this 3 or 4 weeks ago? This game would be on the list, JT. This is a top 25 matchup, I believe. Oregon State at Washington State.
I'm going Washington State, man. I'm going to pick them until the wheels fall off.
Whoa, okay. But Coach C and myself, we're sticking with Oregon State. I said DJ, top transfer QB, going with him. Ohio State. Actually, let's leave that one for last. Let's go Iowa at Penn State first.
Oh, this was tough. You know what? I'm buying the turnaround, man. They took it personal. No. I'll take it Iowa.
Wow. I did not expect that. So Coach C went Penn State. I've got Iowa. I think it's changed. I'm not totally convinced on Penn State. This is probably going to be their first true matchup. Penn State struggled a little bit against West Virginia.
Iowa's ugly, man. They always play ugly games, and I think that's the type of game that Penn State don't want to be in.
Right. So I'm going Iowa as well. So the big one, Ohio State at Notre Dame. Who you got?
I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going Notre Dame.
Funny enough, all 3 of us going Notre Dame on this.
See, that's why we can't have nice things. Why would you guys pick Notre Dame? You don't even like Notre Dame.
Hey, I'm seeing the way games are being played here. All right.
This man got a bookie.
What? No. So now for our NFL weekend predictions, and let's do the NFL records here. We've only had 1 week, but our NFL expert, Kendall Calhoun, and yours truly, JT over there, both had 4-1 records last week.
Oh, tell about. So you're trying to say I'm in first place? in college and in NFL predictions?
Bro, it's
For
so
somebody
early.
who says I don't know what I'm talking about a lot, man. All right. I'll take
you
it.
get lucky one week. That happens.
Look, you didn't want to throw in you didn't want to throw in the week 0 picks, did you?
I went 3-2. We didn't do week 0, and I went 3-2 myself. All right, so we're all above 500. First game, interesting. Falcons at Lions.
I think it's the Falcons, man. I just feel like the Lions is a game they could win. No David Montgomery. I got to see it from the Lions, man. They're supposed to be this explosive juggernaut, and I'm just not seeing it. Maybe this will be the come out party, but I just think the Falcons will have their number.
Well, this is a tough one. I was leaning Lions, but after what I said earlier in the show, I got to stick to my guns. I'm going Atlanta. I'm going with the Falcons. All right, Saints at Packers.
I think this is going to be Jordan Love's first true test. So I'm going with the Saints. Their defense is legit.
He doesn't believe. Kendall's going with the Saints, but I'm going with the Packers. I'm backing the pack here, backing my guy Jordan Love. All right, Bills at the Commanders. You coming up for that? You coming up for that one? It's in Washington.
I don't want to come up and watch Josh Allen smash you guys. Question: What's the spread in this game?
I'm not sure.
Is it over 6 points?
I didn't look at it.
Is it 6 points?
Well, we talked. Didn't we talk about it last night?
We did. It is exactly why I'm picking Josh Allen. I think it's 6 or 7 points. That means Josh Allen's going to go off. For those of you who don't know, there is a stat out there for the last 2 years. Any game where the Bills are favored at 6 points or more, for fantasy football purposes, Josh Allen has averaged at basically 30 points a game, which means he's going to have a monster game. So I think this sits at 6.5 right now. It'll probably be 7 closer to game time. So that means Josh Allen is guaranteed to go off, which means the Bills will win.
I've got Bills as well, and so does Kendall. All right, Eagles at the Buccaneers.
Wow, this was close, man. This was real close. But I'm going to go with the Eagles. I think A.J. Brown has yelled enough and they get it together.
Yep, I'm going Eagles. So did Kendall. I think at some point, 2-0, this is where, the contenders and the pretenders start to maybe separate, even though it is early. But when you play a team like the Eagles, I think that's where you start to separate and you see the Bucs aren't quite ready, even though they're going to be a better team. They're going to be a better team than people think.
I think this is the show off game for the Eagles. Like all the things about like, oh, we're playing sloppy. I think this is the game they show out.
We'll see. They better, because if not, they're going to be on that.
You have a bad record for all these if they don't show out.
If not, they're going to be on our panic button segment next episode.
After one loss? Come on, man.
Hey, the way they've looked the first 2, though, not so great. Not like last year. Anything else on the NFL?
No, man. I just hope to continue my greatness, have a good record. It's just all about, giving people the right advice.
Now, I'm about to catch you. So, JT.
Not in college football.
Yes, I will. 3 games, that's nothing. I'll make that up in a weekend because I put 6 on this schedule.
Wow. So you're rigging so you gerrymandering the schedule now so you can get back in it. I mean, I like your confidence because you could easily, be back as many games too. So
relax. So to all the fans and listeners out there, thank you as always for listening to us. And remember to please subscribe to us, JT and the Don, all sports podcast presented by Give Us a Shot Network. We can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you find all of your other favorite podcasts. And remember, if you like what we do, leave us a 5-star review. And JT,
if you don't like what we do,
leave us a 5-star review. And remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel for Give Us a Shot Network. But you can also find us, JT and the Don, on social media. Our handle, JT and the Don. We can be found on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook. Did I get all those right, JT?
Yeah, for now.
All right. So, JT, a lot of fun, a lot of stuff in there. Enjoy the football this upcoming weekend. And until the next episode, see ya.
Peace.